Welcome to the Medium in the Middle podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, the medium in the middle. On this podcast, I share my journey as a developing psychic medium, as a Reiki master teacher, as an Akashic record practitioner, and anything else that's thrown my way. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 196. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. And today I want to talk about listening to the universe. I'm sharing a story that happened with me in October, actually, on a day that I was presenting at the Banff Wellness Retreat. And I've been meaning to share this story on the podcast because it's just a really good lesson. So I hope this helps you out today about how to listen for signs, because we're all like, I want more signs. I want more signs. Trust me, there is probably 90% more signs that you're just not seeing or paying attention to or knowing what they are. So I hope this episode helps you see that a little bit more. So I wanted to start with a card pull this week. I pull the cards every week on Instagram live with you guys, and I let you vote what card deck we should use this week. If you don't already follow me at Medium in the Middle, go follow along. There is only one account and there's a lot of scammers. I will leave the link down below for my real Instagram, so just beware of scammers. But we got 2 card pulls today. They fell on the ground from the Colette Baron Reed Enchanted Map deck. You guys know this is my favorite, the OG. And I don't know if we've ever pulled this card before, but the first card of 2 cards was the card 20, Flying. You have the power to see things from a higher perspective. If you were a bird flying high in the air, what would you see? When you soar above life's challenges and opportunities, a new perspective becomes available. Oh, I have pulled this card before, and it goes so perfect with today. Today you have invisible wings that allow you to swiftly bring your circumstances into alignment with your highest purpose. This is a sign that your waiting is over and all your hard work is paid off, and the things you hoped for are no longer beyond your scope. You have the ability to reach for the stars and find one with your name on it. Spread your wings and soar. Your angels are waiting for you. I like it. Card number 20, Flying. And then the second card that fell was Ride the Wave, number 14. Right now, success is easy and effortless. You can be assured that you're entering a time when you can ride a wave of abundance. The tide is turned and you can put your surfing skills to the test. Everything that you know, all your talents coupled with your hopes and dreams will carry you forward. People and circumstances have come out of the ocean of potential and possibility to take shape in a wave of spectacular activity. Know that you're definitely on the right path. Ooh, this is some good for us. Card 20, Flying, and card 14, Ride the Wave. I like it. I like it a lot. If you want to see the cards, I post them on Instagram, or if you have the deck, go check these ones out. So I have 2 quick announcements for you. The Mentees in the Middle, my one-on-one mentorship program, is starting again in January, and it will run through to April. So if you have been looking for a mentor, now is the time to jump on that opportunity. I have a few spots available after the waitlist takes it, so I will leave the link down below if you are interested in applying. I have it as an application process just to make sure that I can help you, make sure that what you're looking for is something I know is in my wheelhouse. But I do put preferences on if you want Reiki development support, mediumship development support, or business development. Those are my 3 favorite things to work on. So if you are looking for a mentor to start off the new year on the right foot, I will leave that link down below to apply. The waitlist got it first, but now it will be open. If you are looking for business help specifically, in January, my mastermind will be coming back. So that's a 6-month course that we do together. It'll be business owners who are making money, and we will be meeting once a month to support you. So keep an eye out for that launching in December, and that will be starting in January, running for 6 months. The next exciting thing as we come to the end of the years is my goals workshop. My famous goals workshop is back. You guys know I love, love, love this workshop so much. I've been doing it for, I think this is the 4th year hosting it. But I gave it a cool name this year. It's from 2023 milestones to 2024 goals. I used to just call this 2023 a year in review and 2024 goal planning. But we're trying to get better at naming things. So same, just new name. And it's going to be on Saturday, December 30th, 1 to 3:30 p.m. I like to do this as close to the new year as possible. This isn't like New Year, New You or New Year's resolutions. It's really about reflecting on the year that you had because we go so fast in life. It's hard to have the time to look back and be like, what happened this year? What did I accomplish? What did I do? What was I up to? And then, plan for the future. Set some goals. Look at your year. See what you want to do. See when you're taking time off. See when you're buying tickets to those things. I know for me, I need that reflection. So this is my favorite time to do it, in between Christmas and New Year's, when you don't know what day it is, you don't know what time it is, you're full of wine and cheese. So you can join me live on the 30th, or you can register and everyone will also get the replay in case you want to watch it back a few times, go slower. I will leave the link to register down below in the show notes. But that is only $44 Canadian and it's 2.5 hours. So grab a beverage and let's have some fun. Okay, so let's jump in to this week's episode. And I have a workshop that I host called Listening to the Universe. It's available on my website if you want it. But I was teaching it live at the Banff Wellness Retreat this fall. So I want to tell this story to help you see the small signs from the universe. And I like to explain this as some things are like a 1 out of 10. Some things are a 5 out of 10. Some things are a 10 out of 10. Those ones that blow your socks off. But what we're all looking for and paying attention to is only the 10 out of 10 signs. But there are so many 1 out of 10s, 2 out of 10s, 3 out of 10s, those tiny, tiny, tiny things that we just ignore. And if we learn to pay attention to those tiny things, when you say that you want more signs, you want more guidance, you want to connect more, when you say you want more, this is the more. It's already there. We're just probably not paying attention to it. So this is a very, very simple story that will hopefully kind of help you see what those little tiny 1 out of 10s are. So I had already finished my presentation for this. The Banff Wellness Retreat was that evening at 7 p.m. and I already had my presentation done. And it was in the morning. I was making some eggs before I was going to the gym. So say it's around 10 a.m. and I have one of those small pans that just fit about 2 eggs, you know, the ones. And I was taking the pan from the stove to my plate to put my 2 eggs on my plate. And I don't know how, but I just touched the pan with my knuckle in the smallest little pin spot. And I got a little burn. And I was like, ow! Didn't think anything of it. Put my eggs on my plate. And I was like, that's weird. And I was like, I've never burned my finger on a pan before. Especially the smallest pan of earth. You know, it's a little egg pan. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I'm eating my eggs and my little burn hurt. And I looked at it and, you know, it's the size of the top of a pen. So small. And then a few hours later, I'm at the gym and my finger starts to hurt. And I was thinking, like, why is my finger hurting? And I was like, oh yeah, I burned it this morning. And then I was at the gym working out and then it started to hurt again. And I went to my bag and I put like a little lip gloss on it because I didn't have anything else. And I was like, it just hurts. Didn't think anything of it. And then I'm in the shower washing my hair. And again, my little burn pipes up to annoy me. And I was like, why is my finger hurting so much? This is the smallest burn I've ever seen in my whole life. What is the point? I'm like, there has to be a lesson in this. Because I've learned that if something comes up over and over and over again, and I'm staring at my knuckle, wondering what this tiny burn means, when it dawned on me, and I was like, I need to add this to my presentation. This is a perfect example of a tiny sign that I could have been ignoring, but I didn't ignore. And the message of why I got this tiny burn was to put this in my presentation so I could talk about the tiny, 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 tiny signs. Because in my presentation, I talk about your manual. I talk about looking for the yellow cars. I talk about all the things you guys have heard me talk about for such a long time. But I was like, this is how I have to start. I have to start with a slide that says, ask me what happened about my finger today. ... So I went after I got out of the shower and I made the slides, and then magically my finger stopped hurting and it didn't bother me again. So then I'm there presenting that night at 7 p.m. and my slide comes up, one of my first slides, and it says, ask me what happened to my finger today. And the audience says, what happened, Steph? And I said, oh, thank you for asking. I burnt it while I was putting my eggs on my dish. And then the next slide I click, it says, ask me why, ... And they say, why, Steph? And I say, well, it was a sign for me to put this story in my presentation today so I can teach you guys about the small, small, small signs, the 1 out of 10s. Because I'm going to talk to you for the next hour and a half about signs. But when you pay attention to these teeny tiny burns on your finger, those are the ones that we're probably ignoring. And then the next slide said, that's a sign. And then the next slide said, when was the last time you dropped something, broke something, forgot something, hurt yourself, tripped, fumbled your words? That's probably also a sign. Is everything a sign? No. But wouldn't you want to double check in case it is? And I went on to teach the whole course. It's all on my website if you want the full course. But it was just a good reminder that this teeny tiny burn on the knuckle of my finger was a little teeny tiny sign that, again, I could have just ignored. I could have not put it into my presentation. I could have not taught this way. But it was the universe saying, hey, tonight's group needs this little tiny example. Tonight, you need to put this into your presentation. So I'm here to tell you that sometimes signs from the universe are 10 out of 10. They're amazing. They're smacks in the faces. Sometimes you just see 1111 over and over again and you don't know what it means and you're not quite sure. And sometimes you just get a little tiny burn on your knuckle. But when you start to ask why and learn, this is where the fun part comes in, where life gets easier and faster. And I joked in my presentation, the next slide was a slide of my website with an arrow to my mentorship. And I said, listen, you can pay me money and I will tell you what all these things are. I was like, or I can teach you how to learn what these signs are for yourself. And the better that you get at it and the more you start to pay attention, the easier it becomes for you. So you're like, okay, Steph, great. I don't want to pay you money. I want to learn for myself. So I just want you to start paying attention to everything. I've given a lot of examples on this podcast. You can go back and listen to many, many, many of them, of learning what your signs and symbols are to build your manual. So if you are someone who, burns their finger all the time, burning your finger is probably not a sign. I can't even tell you the last time I burned my finger. So when anything out of the ordinary happens, that's when you want to start to pay attention. I don't drop things. So when I start to drop things, I know that that is something. When I sneeze 3 times, that means spirit's here. When I sneeze twice, it means I sneezed. When I sneeze 4 times, it means there's something in my nose that had to come out. But when I sneeze 3 times, that's spirit. How did I learn that? Well, when it happens over and over and over and over again, and you're paying attention over and over and over again, that's how you start to learn. Just like with Reiki, building your manual. When something happens once, you don't notice. Okay, you burnt your finger, whatever. But then if you burn your finger 10 times, So when I was sneezing and then spirit showed up, and then I was sneezing and then spirit showed up, and then I was sneezing and then spirit showed up, I'm like, I'm going to count next time. Sneeze, sneeze, sneeze. Spirit. Sneeze, sneeze, sneeze. Spirit. Sneeze, sneeze, sneeze. Spirit. Huh. I think when I sneeze 3 times, that means there's a ghost around. I think when I sneeze 3 times, that means that someone's here. Sneeze, 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 spirit. Sneeze, 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 spirit. Yep, okay, I know for sure. When I sneeze 3 times, that's spirit. 2 times? Nope. 4 times? Nope. 6 times? Nope. Once? Nope. 3 times? Yep. So I wanted to come on here and remind you of this because I know I gab about this all the time. But that teeny tiny little burn on my finger just reminded me that sometimes our signs are teeny tiny. Sometimes they're 10 out of 10. But when you pay attention to all of them, the 1s, the 2s, the 5s, the 7s, the 10s, you're going to get a lot more guidance than you think that you're receiving. So go out, pay attention, keep your eyes open, see what your little tiny, tiny signs are, see what happens out of the ordinary or repeating. Anything repeating is always a good way to see your signs. I highly recommend that you start a note in your phone or write things down, but we always have our phones on us, so start a note in your phone. Sneezed and then spirit showed up. Sneezed and then spirit showed up. Sneezed and then spirit showed up. The last 3 times I've sneezed 3 times, that's been spirit. Interesting. So go start the notes on your phone. Have fun with this. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. I release new episodes every Wednesday. If you have an extra 10 seconds, I would love and appreciate a rating and a review. It really helps me out in the podcast world. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Get out there looking for your signs and start that little manual in your phone. I've told you this before. I'll leave all the links you need down below in the show notes for everything we mentioned earlier. Bye, everybody. Have fun.